Aztecs, Empire of Blood and Tribute. Before we continue our journey through the intricacies of Aztec society, let me pause for a moment to say this. If something in our discussion strikes a chord, maybe a vivid tale from their wars or a poignant verse from their poets, do consider liking and sharing this episode, and make sure to follow for more on these captivating historical worlds. Your support truly matters and helps us keep bringing you these in-depth explorations. Welcome into the ancient worlds that shaped our history. Today, we're exploring the fascinating and complex world of the Aztec Empire, that powerhouse civilization in central Mexico from the 14th to the early 16th century. Picture this: a society built on grand alliances, towering pyramids, and a web of trade and tribute that kept everything humming. We'll look at how they handled things like community support, their unique take on taxes, the way power flowed through their ranks, and how wealth got shuffled around or mostly hoarded at different levels. It's a story of ambition, ritual, and survival in a land of lakes and volcanoes. Let me paint a quick picture to get you intrigued. Imagine a bustling city like Tenochtitlan, floating on a lake with canals instead of streets, markets overflowing with feathers, cacao, and jade. At the top, a ruler who's almost godlike, pulling strings over vast territories. Down below, farmers and artisans grinding away, paying their dues in corn or cloth. It's a system that looks efficient on the surface, but dig deeper and you see the cracks. Inequality baked right in, with the elite living large while the masses kept the engine running. We'll unpack how this all tied into their daily lives, their beliefs, and even their epic battles. Now, let's get into the meat of it. The Aztec Empire wasn't just one big happy family. It was a triple alliance of city-states: Tenochtitlan, Texcoco, and Tlacopan, with Tenochtitlan calling most of the shots. Society was stacked like a pyramid. At the peak, the emperor, or Huitzilopochtli, who was seen as semi-divine. He made the big calls on war, religion, and justice. Right below him, the nobility, the Pipiltin, who were born into privilege or sometimes earned it through battlefield heroics. These folks ran provinces, collected dues, and lived exempt from the grind of taxes. Priests and top warriors fit in here too, influencing everything from education to conquests. Then came the commoners, the Masahualtin, who were the backbone. Farmers tilling chinampas, those floating gardens, artisans crafting obsidian tools, merchants hauling goods on their backs. They were grouped into kalpuli, like neighborhood clans that handled local stuff. Schools for kids, shrines for worship, and basic support when times got tough. If someone fell sick or old, the kalpuli might step in with food shares or labor help. But it wasn't some grand state program. It was community-driven, tied to obligations. At the bottom, slaves, often war captives or debtors, who did the heavy lifting but could sometimes buy their freedom or even own a bit of property. Their tax system? It was all about tribute, not coins. Conquered areas paid up twice a year in goods: maize, beans, cotton cloaks, exotic feathers, even warrior costumes. The emperor's collectors, like imperial taxmen, swooped in to grab it, bypassing local bosses to funnel everything straight to the center. This kept Tenochtitlan stocked and the elite flush. Provinces that fought back paid steeper rates, creating resentment that simmered under the surface. It wasn't just extraction. It promoted trade routes, but mostly benefited the top. Wealth didn't trickle down much, it gushed upward. Speaking of battles, let me share a gripping war tale from their conquests. Take the push under Montezuma I in the mid-1400s. The Aztecs eyed the rich valleys of Oaxaca, full of resources they craved. Their armies, decked in quilted cotton armor and wielding macuahuitl clubs edged with obsidian, marched south. In one fierce clash near the Mixtec lands, warriors clashed in ritual combat, not just to kill but to capture foes alive, for the gods demanded hearts. Legend has it a young Aztec captain, spotting a Mixtec lord in eagle feathers, charged through the fray, dodging spears and blows to grapple him down. That capture sealed the victory, bringing tribute of turquoise and quetzal plumes back home. But these wars weren't always total domination. The Aztecs left local rulers in place, as long as the goods flowed. It was hegemonic control, smart but fragile. And religion, it wove through everything, especially the darker side with human sacrifice. The Aztecs believed the gods sacrificed themselves to create the world. Think Huitzilopochtli, the sun god, born from his mother's coat, slaying his siblings to keep the cosmos spinning. To repay that, they offered blood. Stories abound. During droughts or eclipses, priests in black robes ascended the great temple steps, a captive stretched on the stone altar. With a swift obsidian knife, the heart was ripped out, held high to feed the sun. One chilling account from the reconsecration of the temple under a Huitzilopochtli in 1487 speaks of lines of prisoners snaking for miles, thousands offered over days to avert calamity. It wasn't mindless brutality. It was cosmic duty, ensuring the rains came and the maize grew. Yet it bred fear, both awe for the faithful and terror for enemies. On a softer note, amid all this intensity, the Aztecs had a romantic soul, captured in their poetry. Nezahualcóyotl, the philosopher king of Texcoco, penned verses that blend love with the fleeting nature of life. Imagine a noble courting a maiden in a garden of marigolds. He'd recite lines like, "I love the song of the mockingbird, bird of 400 voices. I love the color of the jadestone and the enervating perfume of flowers, but most of all I love my fellow man. It's tender, yet tinged with melancholy, knowing empires rise and fall like blossoms. Another anecdote. A warrior returning from battle, his heart heavy with loss, composes a poem for his beloved, comparing her eyes to stars guiding him home. These words, sung with drums and flutes at feasts, reminded everyone that amid power plays and sacrifices, human connections endured. Shifting to the bigger picture, let's analyze what this all meant. Power dynamics were all about concentration. The emperor and nobles held the reins, using tribute to buy loyalty and fund wars. Inequality was staggering. Studies show the top 1% snagged over 40% of income, way worse than today. The imperial elite, a tiny fraction, earned hundreds of times more than peasants. This extraction fueled grandeur. Massive temples, elite palaces, but left commoners scraping by. Welfare through Calpulli offered a safety net like shared farming lands or festival food distributions, but it was informal, not systemic. Religious rituals redistributed some wealth. Feasts after sacrifices fed the masses, but mostly it justified the hierarchy. Core to this was the tribute's role in integration. It linked distant provinces, but unevenly, with resistant areas bled dry. This bred resentment, making the empire vulnerable. When outsiders arrived, allies flipped fast. The system reflected a deep understanding of resource flow. Allocate based on conquest, use luxury goods to motivate nobles, keep the masses productive through community ties. But it was extractive at heart, with little real redistribution downward. Slaves and poor commoners hovered near subsistence, while nobles flaunted feathers and gold. This inequality wasn't accidental. It stemmed from noble control over land and labor, plus variations in tribute demands. In the end, it contributed to the empire's downfall, as overtaxed subjects sought change. To bring it alive, here are some evocative quotes from their world. From Nezahualcóyotl. Where shall we go where death does not exist? But should I live weeping because of this? May your heart find its way. Here no one will live forever. It captures the impermanence that drove their rituals. Another. Stand up, beat your drum. Give of yourself, no friendship. Let your hearts be taken with many colors. It's a call to embrace life's vibrancy amid hierarchy. And from historical records, a tribute list snippet. 400 loads of large cotton mantles, 400 women's tunics, 80 loads of cacao, shows the sheer scale of extraction. Wrapping this up, the Aztec story is a reminder of how societies balance power, faith, and economy in extreme ways. Their innovations in agriculture and organization built an empire, but the rigid divides and heavy demands sowed seeds of unrest. If you're curious about ancient civilizations, this one's a goldmine, pun intended. Dive into codices or visit ruins if you can. It's eye-opening. Stay unsacrificed by the collective. Stay free.